Happy birthday to my fellow Libra babies out there. This cake is for you and for me. So this is the cake that I made for my birthday, and I'm going to show you guys how I filled and decorated this. The best part was that the frosting was super easy because we're only going to dye it 3 colors, and I'm using a strawberry emulsion to flavor some of the buttercream, and this actually dyes it pink just from this emulsion itself. So I used electric blue, electric yellow, and if you're not going to flavor it strawberry, then you can use just a drop of electric pink. Wanted to do faux Swiss meringue buttercream because it's my favorite buttercream. It's very light, it's not overly sweet, and it's kind of like a cloud-like texture. It's so smooth and silky to work with. The cake flavor that I chose today is matcha. I love matcha lattes, I love anything matcha, and I know that I post so much about it on my Instagram that you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about it, but it's just one of my favorite flavors, and I never get to do it in a cake form. When I was doing a small business, most people just were not down with matcha, so it was really nice to be able to do this for me. I really wanted to have a filling, and I kept going back and forth between what would be good with matcha, and then I realized strawberries would be really good. So I just chopped them up very small and I stuck them in that center. Now what I'm doing right now is doing the crumb coat. So we don't have to do too thick of icing here. We're just trying to catch all those crumbs, and then we're going to pop this in the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes before we finish frosting. I also want to mention that the only strawberry flavored buttercream is the pink buttercream, which is actually most of the buttercream on the cake. But the blue and the yellow and the white buttercream, I did not add any emulsion, so it's just vanilla extract. So overall, this cake is a matcha cake with strawberry and vanilla Swiss meringue with fresh strawberry filling. So you guys saw me put on the different dabs of color onto the cake. And then I'm just gently scraping that with an offset spatula, and then I changed to my cake scraper. And as I was doing this and scraping it, the colors really were blending in because they were very subtle. My original vision was to have a lot more color, but then I realized that maybe subtle would be better so that our pipe work would really stand out. To make the clouds, I'm using a number 4 piping tip, and I'm just going to make some curved lines, and then I'm going to fill it in. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to smooth it out with an offset spatula. And that's really it. And then when you want to go to make your second layer of clouds, you just pipe right over it and then you smooth it out again. This is a really simple technique, and the clouds are so cute. I wanted to also add clouds to the top of the cake, and I will say this, if you're going to be piping with a bigger tip and you're going to have a thicker border, definitely start the clouds a bit higher up. That way they'll be more visible because a thick border is just going to hide them. Now we're going to prepare our piping bag that's going to have 3 different colors of buttercream. So take a piece of plastic wrap and put it out on your counter, and then spread the colors side by side. Now here is a tip that I should have followed, and I don't know why I didn't. Definitely start with less icing. You can always make another piping bag like this. The more icing that you have in a piping bag, the harder it is when you go to pipe. I was being lazy and I wanted to just get all the icing into one bag. And if you don't have much experience with piping, it's definitely not the best idea. So start smaller, and then you can always go back and make another one of these bags. So all you do is you just kind of roll it around like that, and then you're going to cut off one end. I have a piping bag prepared with the Ateco French tip number 869, and then I'm just going to put our buttercream bag right into it. So it's really easy to make. If you're nervous about getting the border to look really nice, there's no worries. All you have to do is just practice a few times before you do it onto the cake board. Hold your piping bag at a 45-degree angle, and you want to apply the same even pressure. You want to let that shell build up a little bit before you pull it downwards to the cake board. Another tip is to decide what part of the cake is going to be the back. So I decided that the top of the heart was going to be the back, so that would be facing the wall. And then I like to start my border from the back, so that way the last little clamshell that we pipe is going to be there too. Sometimes when you get to the end like this, it's really hard to fit them in. You know, we try to pipe it the best that we can. And so that's why I always suggest to look at the cake for a second before you pipe, and then decide what is the part that everyone's gonna see and what can you hide. I've also seen people pipe heart-shaped cakes where they'll pipe, like I'm doing here, the left side of the border, starting from the top and then coming down. And then once they reach the point, they stop, and then they start over from the right side coming down. So the border isn't going in a circle, it's going in 2 opposite directions. I hope that makes sense. I really like how that looks too, but I do prefer to pipe in this direction where everything is just in the same, facing the same. And then I did add a clamshell at the top just to accentuate that it's a heart shape. Now we're going to pipe on the little tiny details that are really going to tie this cake together. So I decided to pipe on some little stars. I'm using a number 2 tip for this. And then after I piped on those stars, I wanted even tinier little stars. So I just piped on some little dots, and then I switched to use white buttercream to also pipe on some dots, and I used the same number 2 tip. I thought it needed just a little bit more of a 3D element, so I added some white sugar pearls. Now the type of writing that I'm going to show you guys is really easy, and it will be really cute even if you don't have the best writing skills. I definitely don't have the best piping skills. It's really hard to write on cakes. It takes a lot of practice, and I just don't write that often, but I should definitely be practicing. So what I like to do is I like to put on a white buttercream, and I'm going to spell out the words, and I'm using a number 4 tip. So this is a thicker tip. This is much bigger than you would normally write with. But then it's going to kind of be like a 3D effect, and that really emphasizes the letters and it makes them look really good. It's almost like you're writing in like bubble font, but it's on top of a cake. So instead of using a tip, I just put some pink icing into a bag and I just cut the tip. But if you do want to use a metal tip, I recommend using a number 2 tip. It's probably the best one. Number 3 starts to get a little bit too thick. I thought that those empty spaces were a little bit too bare for me, so I decided to add some more stars and some little dots just to fill it in. It would not be a birthday cake for myself if there wasn't any edible glitter. So I decided to add a lot of glitter. I really wanted this cake to shine, and because the whole theme is like clouds and stars, I really thought that just some glitter would tie into that. I love when you just look at the cake and it's sparkling. But this is how the final cake looked, and I was really happy with it. It's my first time making one of these horoscope cakes, and I definitely want to make another one and maybe do all of the horoscopes, to be honest. This was really a lot of fun. So I had let the cake sit and I had left to go do something, and then when I came back, I forgot about the cake actually, and then when I saw it, I was like, you know what, I've got to cut it. It is for my birthday after all. And it's really good. This combination of matcha and vanilla and strawberry is really yummy. So thanks guys for watching, and happy birthday to all the other Libra babies out there. I'll see you next time.